On a more serious note, the part that really impresses me about the continuity team is when they drop a bunch of Spartans into your office to watch you make it right.
Yeah. Including a French Spartan.
And frighteningly enough, it was the Spartans from 300. We don't know what was going on with that.
And the French Spartan's name is Lance.
And they keep sending figurines, and I know they're like going to come to life in the middle of when I'm doing something wrong.
They have microphones in there. The things. So, Eric, speaking of Eric, you're working on a whole mess of Halo stuff right now, but you're also an author. How do you keep that all separate while you're keeping your own vision for what you're writing?
Yeah, and can you tell us a little bit about the projects that Tor has?
Sure. Well, coming on, we're actually going to be reissuing all of the original 3 Halo novels, starting with The Fall of Reach in August, with only newly edited and new material in the back matter that supports the story with all sorts of cool stuff with new information and hidden gems. And then we're coming back out again with The Flood, a whole newly revised version of The Flood, new covers, another new material in the back, full of all sorts of fun stuff. And then again, we're coming out with another newly edited version of First Strike, and in the midst of that, we're also doing, we're in the midst right now of an art contest through Halo Waypoint for the Evolution short story collection. And we'll be coming out with 2 editions of that, split into 2 and make them cheaper. And we're adding a couple stories to that, so there'll be new short stories for Evolutions starting in November and December. And then the first Forerunner novel will come right around the holiday, end of the year. And I can't tell you how cool it is. It's really, really fun.
No, you actually can't.
But other than that, it's Worlds. I have one of the best jobs in the world. I get to imagine what will happen in worlds that I love, and for a writer, for an editor, for anyone who really loves science fiction and just fantastical storytelling, it's one of the best jobs, and it just strikes your imagination constantly. It's like being able to, just close your eyes and just look around a universe. And that's what I really find is the best part of Halo for me is, looking to the left or the right of where the main action is to see what the ancillary stories are. Because, for every major town you see a battle, there's a town of refugees. For every AI like Cortana, there's a infinite amount of other ones. There's so many stories to be told, and to be able to play in that is just amazing.
So, Frank, your title's Halo Franchise Development Director.
Yes.
What does that mean?
That is the most words that I could fit in a business card before I got an overflow error.
Sweet. All right. Do you have anything else you want to tell us?
No, so I just wanted to talk about specifically since we have since we have Greg and Karen here, what we've been doing with those guys. And as Eric just announced, the first Forerunner novel is going to be out by holiday this year. And as I mentioned at the start, I've been reading it, so it's coming in hot and live. And I just finished the second 100 pages, and I couldn't be happier. And we had this awkward conversation with Greg where he'd been waiting for our notes, and while we definitely had some questions, we didn't have any big ticket item changes. Everything that he'd invented in that space was either exactly as we'd imagined it or better, and often better. And I just wanted to quickly give Greg a chance to talk about a couple of the things that are in that first few 100 pages. And it's hard because we didn't want to do any spoiler stuff, but there's I don't think it's too much of a spoiler to tell you that you'll see human and Forerunner contact in the first dozen pages right off the bat. And Greg is taking things in a direction that I've seen all sorts of sort of predictions from fans about what they think the shape of that universe is, and so far none of them have been exactly right. And Greg really surprised us with that, and it's coming along beautifully.
Well, I think the fan creativity is a tough thing to beat. In a sense, I have to take what you imagine in your heads and try and one-up it, and I'm not always sure quite what you're imagining in your heads, however much we do the research and listen and so on. So I got to go back to my masters, to the roots of science fiction, to Olaf Stapledon and Arthur C. Clarke, and again, Doc Smith, and the early myths too, you know, Arthur and everything else. And then every story has a structure. This structure is about conflict, not so much good and evil, as about growth. And that's going to be in the book. What we do have is a story of human origins and why they seem to us to be so confused. We also have a story about the creation of the halos, how they're being handled. I can't really talk about the fun stuff that we've actually been knocking out here about the halos, but there are going to be some major surprises about the halos. I'm working on some solutions to some major problems with the halos, and I keep getting told, no, that doesn't work, you know, that because of this is over here and this is over here, but we're going to get it worked out. I think you're going to know a lot more about both the forerunners, their interactions with humans, about the history of the time, a very tumultuous history. It's just going to be, again, I've got 2 more books to go after this, and I'm just beginning to dip into that climactic moment when we reach the real beginning of the Halo story in the game sense. And it's great fun.
And the things Greg's working on now, everything in both the Forerunner trilogy and the series of Karen Treva's novels will all have direct connections to the game. Nothing here is disposable. So that doesn't mean that you're going to have to read all these novels to understand the game or vice versa. But what we're trying to create is a sense of resonance so that when you see an object or a person in a game, and it has more meaning for you than certain other players, then that's kind of the baseline experience that we want to get out of connecting all these dots for people. And it should make both the books and the games all the richer for it.
One of the more humorous problems I face is trying to keep my other books away from this and not mix and match, so I'm actually plotting 4 projects at the same time right now. And fortunately,
That's where the dragon came from.
only 2 of them are far future, but I can't mix and match. And then I get together, I met the director of Battle Earth, Battle Los Angeles, Jonathan Liebsman, and his next movie he wants to make from my novel Eon. So I got to get together and plot with him about Eon, and I hope I don't spill the beans about Halo at that point, because Eon is also a huge artifact-driven far future novel, and we got to visualize that. So it's just terrific fun. In a sense, it's a challenge like juggling, only it's in my favorite circus, which is science fiction. It's a challenge.
Yeah, and if you guys aren't familiar with Greg's work, Eon is probably the most quoted start place. It's big sci-fi, and it should give you a very good idea of the tone and quality of writing to expect in this novel.
I got a couple quick notes. Our moderator has threatened me physically if I don't keep it short. So
Because I want you guys to have a
for Q&A
opportunity to
time,
watch some.
just a couple other notes just about the Halo universe and things we've been doing this year is obviously one of our biggest partners, best partners, isn't at the table today, but it's Bungie. And I've spent a lot of time in this last year working with Bungie on materials to support Reach coming up. And in particular, as Karen touched on earlier, is Dr. Halsey's journal is one of the objects that comes in the limited and legendary editions. And in that, we had a chance to go back and do decades of history in the Halo universe. Dr. Halsey is one of our most important characters, one of our definitely most interesting characters, and was able to work with writers and artists and designers, both at Microsoft and at Bungie, work with Eric Nyland some as well on all that. And if anybody happens to like the Halo universe or wonder little things like how Dr. Halsey got recruited, or look at some of the materials she was using when she was collecting up the Spartan kids, pulling them into the program, all of that stuff is in there. It illuminates a lot of the little corners in our universe. It was a lot of fun to work on, and I'm really excited to let that get out there and let everybody tear it apart. The other and the last note is the other group, and a lot of them are standing along the wall over there with cameras and podcasts and things like that, is working with the team on Halo Waypoint. Because we grabbed some of the biggest Halo fans, craziest Halo fans ever, and brought them in. Hi, crazy Halo fans. And through Halo Waypoint, we've got a great chance to explore a little bit more of those corners of the universe. If it's getting into the history of the species of the Covenant or the vehicles, or these guys love the ways to get out of levels and do crazy Halo tricks and things like that. And also on the
and awesome partners, because we have some roosters.
Oh yeah.
Some
I mean,
teeth back there.
with roosters.
Wave, rooster teeth.
Rooster teeth. Hi, Rooster
Red versus blue in the house.